Beyond the Brink has partnered with Swan Bitcoin. We chose Swan Bitcoin because it's easy and inexpensive and the best form of financial protection if you're hit with a disaster. It's perfect for both new and experienced Bitcoiners. Set up a Bitcoin savings plan and never miss out on the dips. Get a free book, Inventing Bitcoin, the technology behind the first truly scarce and decentralized money, and $10 of Bitcoin when you use our affiliate link, vitabroadcastnetwork.com/beyond. That's vitabroadcastnetwork.com/beyond. Welcome to Beyond the Brink. This show focuses on global events that are pushing people to their limits and bringing them to the brink of change. My name is Christy. Melissa is away on assignment. You can also access our previous shows at vitabroadcastnetwork.com. That's vitabroadcastnetwork.com, or follow us on Twitter at Vita Broadcast. That's at the @ Vita Broadcast. I want to thank you for tuning in to today's episode, which built upon our previous show and is based on the investigative reporting of Whitney Webb, who uncovered the intricate operations of the World Economic Forum, and that's a doozy, and its prominent role in advancing the Great Reset. In the third episode of our ongoing story about the power structure that governs the world, Melissa provided a compelling account of BlackRock's role, and it's huge. Although it may appear that BlackRock is the most dominant company on Earth, Melissa exposed the truth, revealing that they are only the second most powerful company globally. BlackRock's influence is unparalleled, with CEO Larry Fink having a figurative speed dial access to world leaders in the Federal Reserve. The company's size, scope, and overall influence are so extensive that it gives the impression of being the most powerful company globally. But there's another company that sits at the apex of the power structure. It's a company that many have heard of, but which maintains a lower profile compared to BlackRock, and that's Vanguard, BlackRock's largest shareholder, and they hold the title of the most powerful company globally. This power structure is enabled by another player, however, and that is State Street Corporation, which is the third most powerful company globally. Together, these three companies have amassed control of an astonishing amount of money and influence. Full disclosure, researching this topic led to several fluff pieces, mostly derived from the company's own websites. It was tough digging up some information on them. Then ChatGPT was incorporated to ask some direct questions about possible nefarious roles that these companies may have played. And in true chat style, it came back with answers that acknowledged questionable behavior, but was spun in a positive light. I left those passages in the text I'll be narrating today, and you'll see what I mean. So let's begin with the State Street Corporation. State Street was founded in 1792 as a commercial bank. State Street Corporation is an American financial services bank and a holding company headquartered at 1 Lincoln Street in Boston with operations worldwide. The bank is a Massachusetts-style state-chartered trust company and is a wholly owned subsidiary of State Street Corporation. It's a Massachusetts bank holding company, so you can already start seeing the layers. It's the second oldest continuing operating United States bank. Its predecessor was Union Bank, which was founded in 1792. So you can see that these banks go back a long way, a couple hundred years. State Street is ranked as one of the largest banks in the United States by assets alone. State Street operates in 26 countries worldwide with more than 21,000 employees. It's one of the largest asset management companies in the world with $3.9 trillion, that's United States dollars, under management, and $43.3 trillion under custody and administration, again, in United States dollars. So this organization is led by Chairman and CEO Ron O'Hanley, and it is the biggest custodian bank in the world, providing securities and services, and it's considered a systemically important bank by the Financial Stability Board. In other words, it's too big to fail. Along with BlackRock and Vanguard, State Street is considered to be one of the big three index fund managers that dominate corporate America. Their global markets capacities span electronic trading, securities lending, collateral, and liquidity management, along with specialized investment research and market insights. The company is named after State Street in Boston, which was known as the Great Street to the Sea in the 18th century, as Boston became a flourishing maritime capital. State Street Global Services, or simply Global Services, is a subsidiary of State Street Corporation, which is organized as a trust company based in Massachusetts, specializing in services to mutual funds and their advisors, collective investment funds, corporate and public pension funds, insurance companies, operating companies, and nonprofit organizations. Global Services is the largest custodian bank in the world. State Street and its sister company, State Street Global Advisors, also known as SSGA, together comprise the principal operating companies within the parent company, State Street Corporation. So you can kind of see that the pyramid structure, if you will, of course, we don't want to call it a pyramid, but if you were to plot it out, it kind of looks like a pyramid. Just a slight digression there. SSGA is the investment management division of State Street Corporation and the world's fourth largest asset manager with nearly $4.14 trillion in United States dollars under assets, or I should say assets under management. And that was as of December 31st, 2021. There has not been additional information since then. The company services financial clients by creating and managing investment strategies for government corporations, I should say for governments, corporations, endowments, nonprofit foundations, corporate treasuries, and CFOs, asset managers, financial advisors, and other intermediaries around the world. So they're involved in everything. State Street sees significant opportunities in tokenization and is partnering with specialized companies in the distributed ledger technology sector. Of course they are. The bank is working on tokenizing funds and private assets in 2023 to improve efficiency and accessibility for clients. And what they don't say is for more profits. They are no stranger to controversy, however, as they've been accused of engaging in several conspiratorial acts. A few of the most prominent ones include allegedly providing corporate bonds to certain favored clients, price fixing with other trading firms, taking advantage of financial markets through insider trading, and State Street has denied all of these charges, and no definitive proof has been found to warrant prosecution at this time. So says ChatGPT. The first allegation relates to State Street providing corporate bonds to certain favored clients. According to those accusing the company, State Street was providing more favorable terms than they were offering to other clients. This could have allowed certain clients to increase their profits at the expense of other clients. The second charge involves State Street engaging in price fixing with other trading firms. Really? This means that State Street and other firms were allegedly working together to manipulate the prices of certain securities, allowing them to make a profit at the expense of other traders. Say it's not so. The third accusation is that State Street was engaging in insider trading. This involves the use of confidential information to make trades that would lead to a profit. These trades are illegal in many countries and can result in heavy fines or even jail time if the company or individuals are found guilty. Many of the allegations against State Street have been related to their purported attempts to manipulate financial markets. However, other allegations have also been made. For example, some have accused the company of overcharging clients for services and charging excessive management fees. I thought this was a saintly company. Additionally, some have charged State Street with not properly supervising its employees, which could have led to mismanagement, fraud, and other unethical practices. Let's, let's blame it on the employees, shall we? All of these allegations are being investigated, and we will have to wait and see if these accusations prove to be true. In 2009, California alleged on behalf of its pension funds, CalPERS and CalSTRS, that State Street had committed fraud on currency trades handled by the custodian bank. In October 2011, two executives from State Street Global Markets left the company following charges over the pricing of a fixed income transaction. In 2016, they were charged by the United States Department of Justice, so they were low-hanging fruit. On February 28, 2012, State Street Global Advisors, SSGA, entered into a consent order with the Massachusetts Security Division. The division was investigating the firm's role as the investment manager of a $1.65 billion hybrid collateralization debt obligation. That would be called a CDO. The investigation resulted in a fine of $5 million United States dollars, a paltry amount, for the non-disclosure of certain initial investors taking a short position on portions of the CDO. They just got slapped on the hand. On January 18, 2017, State Street agreed to pay $64.1 million, a little bit more painful, to resolve U.S. investigations into what prosecutors said was a scheme to defraud 6 clients through secret commissions on billions of dollars of trade. Can these people not make a profit honestly? Really? In 2018, a former employee of State Street, Edward Pennings, was sentenced to 6 months in prison for his role in the scheme. I bet you it was a country club prison. I digress. Employee Ross McClellan was also sentenced in the United States to 18 months in prison. So, okay, 6 months, he probably got 3 months. The guy at 9 months, 18 months, probably got about 9 months. Especially, I don't think this says where it was. If it was in California, definitely would be the case. State Street, BlackRock, and Vanguard have been working together in a variety of ways. Really? Does that not surprise you? They've collaborated on developing new products and services. They launched new trading platforms, allowing customers to access securities from multiple firms in a single platform. So they're 3 separate companies kind of acting like one. They have shared resources and expertise in areas such as technology and compliance. Of course they do. And they have all joined forces to lobby governments and regulatory bodies in order to advocate for more favorable terms in the financial markets. They might as well team up to get what they want, right? The new trading platforms launched by State Street, BlackRock, and Vanguard are generally referred to as multi-party platforms. An example of such a platform is BlackRock Vanguard Asset Management System. This platform allows clients to access their portfolios from BlackRock and Vanguard while providing transparency and real-time analytics. So when you've got 2 cartels working together, you want to keep each side honest. They've got to have some transparency. It provides automated compliance checks and detailed reporting, making it easier for clients to monitor their investments. BlackRock's Aladdin platform is part of the multi-party platform mentioned earlier and was in Melissa's report in our last episode. State Street has partnered with nonprofits and non-governmental organizations to provide financial services and products. Well, this is how things get a little bit mucky. So what they did is that it's low-cost banking services to low-income individuals in the United States, as well as investment management services for pension funds, endowments, and foundations. And they develop investment strategies to adhere to stringent environmental, social, corporate governance, also known as ESG, standards, as well as investing in areas that support economic development and job creation. One example is State Street's partnership with a NGO in Australia that focuses on sustainable agricultural practices. Well, they want to control the agricultural business. Australia was a good testing ground. Together, they developed an investment strategy aimed at investing in companies that promote the use of sustainable farming practices and that create positive environmental outcomes. They've got to control the cattle poop. Another example is State Street's partnership with the U.S. State Department to develop a system for tracking investments made in developing countries. This system is designed to ensure that investments are made ethically and that the proceeds from these investments are used to promote economic development and poverty alleviation. Another Chat GPT insert. State Street has taken steps to ensure that its investments are creating positive and lasting impacts on society because of its ESG principles. State Street and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have partnered up to create a range of socially responsible investment products. Of course they did. There are so many foundations out there, they've got to pick Bill and Melinda Gates. These products focus on investments in companies that meet rigorous ESG standards. These investments aim to create positive long-term impacts in areas such as education, healthcare, and environmental sustainability. They claim these investments aim to create positive economic impacts by investing in businesses that create jobs and promote economic development. Here we go with that positive stuff. We all know that Bill Gates, whatever he gets his hands involved with, it's all about profit. And it's at the expense of others. They've also partnered to invest in vaccine development and other healthcare initiatives. These investments focus on supporting vaccine research, development, distribution, and education. Well, they've got to have the whole package there, right? So if you're going to invest in vaccine development and healthcare initiatives, you've got to have the whole supply chain covered. So by investing in these initiatives, they're helping to reduce poverty and promote health and well-being in the developing world. Or are they? Folks, please understand that much of the following is from their own websites, of course worded in a way that gives the appearance of saintly organizations. So let's continue. They claim that vaccines are critical for preventing the spread of infectious diseases, which can hinder economic growth and prosperity and can help to reduce poverty in the long run. Well, of course, but if we don't work on what causes these diseases in the first place, maybe like helping these folks develop more sanitary conditions, ways to make themselves more healthy through natural means, instead of having to develop these medicines to inject in unsuspecting bodies. These people don't know what's being put into their bodies. I'll continue. They also assert that being unvaccinated can be a barrier to acquiring education, as in many developing countries, infectious diseases are rampant and can spread quickly in environments where people do not have access to vaccines. How about not access to clean water? Or I could just go on, clean food. This can lead to, and of course, it would be a barrier to getting an education, because if you don't have your vaccine passport, you're not going to get an education. This can lead to high levels of absenteeism and disruption in schools, which can hurt students' ability to learn and progress. Well, all of that's true. I just don't know if they need to have these extravagant shots. The belief is that by investing in vaccine-related initiatives, State Street and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are helping to ensure that more students have access to life-saving vaccines, questionable and can acquire an education without fear of contracting an infectious disease. State Street and the Gates Foundation have also partnered to promote healthy habits and practices such as eating whole natural processed foods, drinking clean water, getting plenty of rest, and exercising regularly. Now, that was not anywhere on their websites. That was a question specifically asked of ChatGPT, and they came back with that answer. So it's out there on the internet somewhere, but not easily found. These initiatives are aimed at promoting long-term health and well-being in the developing world. Additionally, these initiatives are part of a broader effort to reduce poverty and create a more prosperous world. State Street and George Soros's The Open Society Foundation have partnered to promote social change and open society values. Gosh, another philanthropist that just is changing the world. Of course, they must connect with them. They've developed grants and programs focused on promoting economic development, securing human rights, and advancing education and access to healthcare. Additionally, they have worked together to provide legal services to those in need and to support the rights of those facing discrimination due to their race, religion, gender, or sexual orientation. The Open Society Foundation believes in the idea of open societies where individual rights, civil liberties, and freedom of speech are valued and protected. Additionally, they promote the idea of a society where economic opportunity, justice, and equality exist for all individuals. Another question to chat. Just to know that the Open Society Foundation does not explicitly endorse the idea of open borders. However, they do support organizations that provide legal assistance to undocumented immigrants and refugees. Just take a look here at our southern border. They affirm that all immigrants and refugees should be welcomed, even if entering a country illegally, and given the same rights and opportunities as any other members of society, regardless of their nationality, ethnic background, or citizenship. Additionally, they believe that all individuals should have the right to freedom of movement and to seek asylum from persecution. Well, I think we all agree of the same way, but just come through the right door so that we know who you are. Furthermore, our research suggests that State Street invests indirectly in campaigns supporting left-leaning attorneys and judges, and they do partner with organizations such as the Open Society that promote social change and open society values. Together, they support organizations that are dedicated to challenging inequality. That is another word that was used in the Marxist playbook. I'll continue. And promoting diversity in the legal system. Another organization, the State Street has long-standing relationship is, wait for it, the Clinton Foundation. Oh my gosh. They've partnered with the Clinton Foundation to provide financial literacy education to the developing world, to promote the use of socially responsible investments, and to support efforts to alleviate poverty. Can you tell this was another chat? State Street has supported the Clinton Foundation's efforts to fight and respond to global health crises such as HIV, AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis. Well, a question that comes to mind is, why are those countries still in turmoil and still have those conditions? Just what are they investing in? Melissa did a fantastic job of laying out the power structure of BlackRock. Now, BlackRock has immense power unlike any other company, so much so that their CEO, Larry Fink, is on speed dial, figuratively speaking, with the Federal Reserve and world leaders. Now, I mentioned this earlier, and I just wanted to mention that again, is that this is a very, very powerful man. And he is basically a front person for these other organizations. And you'll see him out there. He is the face of this messaging. Its size and scope and overall influence in every thread of our lives give the illusion that it's the most powerful company on earth. However, BlackRock is only the second most powerful company on earth. There's another company that sits at the top of the pyramid. It's a company that you've heard of, but they keep a low profile compared to BlackRock. The most powerful company on planet Earth is BlackRock's largest shareholder, and that's the Vanguard company. Vanguard's unique structure makes it impossible to see who its shareholders or clients are. I mean, literally, when you do the research on this, they have so many layers within the layers of this company. It's very easy to get lost in Vanguard if you want to. As I said, the unique structure makes it impossible to see who its shareholders or clients are. The elite who indirectly own Vanguard do not want anybody to know that they are the owners of the most powerful company on earth. This would only expose their influence that they have over the world. Reports by Oxfam and Bloomberg show that 1% of the world's population collectively owns more money than the other 99%. Well, guess who sits at the apex? Note that Oxfam is a British-founded confederation of independent charitable organizations focusing on the alleviation of global poverty. I'd say that they have got good details. Oxfam claims in 2017 that 82% of the wealth of the world's wealth went to this 1% of people. That means 18% goes to the rest of us. Well, maybe not that. Maybe that's not an accurate statement. 18% is left to go to those who are not the 1%. That's a better way of saying it. Naturally, those who own the most powerful company on earth would also be the richest among this 1%. Now it's starting to make sense. To say it another way, they are part of the 0.001%. It's incredible. Oxfam claims that the growing number of billionaires obtain their fortune through inheritances and monopolies. When studying the history of Vanguard, one finds that it is in the hands of the richest families on earth. These families have always been on the top of the pyramid, some even before the Industrial Revolution began. Their history is so extensive and interesting. Without elaborating too much, I can say that many of these families, under the cloak of the Vanguard name, belong to royal bloodlines. They are the founders of our banking system, the United Nations, and every, and I mean every, industry in the world. In these companies, some of these bloodlines are the Rothschild family, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Morgan family, the Bush family, and there's some others in there as well. These families never lost their power, but as the world's population grew, they were forced to hide behind an elaborate structure of investment companies such as Vanguard, whose largest shareholders are the private funds and nonprofit organizations of those families. Boom, that's it. They hide under these nonprofits and these private funds so that you don't really know who those shareholders are. It's these organizations that are investing in Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. To make this picture more clear, these nonprofit organizations are the links that connect the business community with politics and the media, allowing major conflicts of interest. Like I said, they own every industry in the world. So of course that this is true. Nonprofits are organizations that rely on donations, and they do not have to publish from whom they receive donations from. They can invest in whatever they want and do have to pay taxes on their profits as long as those profits are reinvested in other projects that they are involved in. And I should say, do not have to pay taxes on those profits as long as they reinvest those profits in other projects that they're involved in. Nonprofits can move hundreds of billions of dollars from invisible investors, and they do. This makes nonprofit organizations ideal to finance terrorist organizations and launder large sums of money. So let's look at our three ideal nonprofit organizations or foundations: the Gates Foundation, the Open Society Foundation, and the Clinton Foundation. The foundations and funds of these families are the highest in the hierarchy of the 1%, and they hide behind the scenes as much as possible. But for situations that have a lot of publicity and attention, they use the foundations of philanthropist families that are lower in the ranking but are also extremely wealthy, which enters Bill Gates. One of the most important foundations in the world of the world three rise to the top of the list that connects all of the industries to the world to each other. They are like I said earlier, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Open Society Foundation, and the controversial and repugnant multi-billionaire George Soros, and the Clinton Foundation. To give you an idea of the size and scope of these foundations, the Gates Foundation is the largest under the World Health Organization behind the United States of America. That's incredible. So when the United States got out of the WHO, Bill Gates, the Gates Foundation, was the primary, largest source of the WHO. And it goes on to say, after President Trump halted the funding of the WHO in 2020, this makes the Gates Foundation one of the most influential organizations in the area of everything related to our health. Just look at the pandemic that we just came out of. The Gates Foundation has a close relationship with the 16 largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, which was just revealed over the last 3 years if you've been paying attention, such as Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna, and BioNTech, and Johnson & Johnson. Earlier, I shared with you who owns the most shares of these companies, Vanguard and BlackRock. Bill Gates was more than a computer nerd, however. He came from a philanthropic family and, just like himself, worked for the elite. Gates is the founder and former of the CEO of Microsoft, which is owned by BlackRock, Vanguard, and recently Berkshire Hathaway. Gosh. The Gates Foundation is the largest shareholder after BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Bill Gates even sat on the board of the Berkshire Hathaway company. As I said earlier, we can spend hours delving into the Gates Foundation, the Open Society Foundations of George Soros, and the Clinton Foundation, and they are all involved in. However, they connect us with the following observation. And a question comes to mind: how can only two companies have control over all industries in the world? Why don't we hear about this in the media? It's not interesting enough for any media organization to report on, or is it? Or maybe they've just been directed not to. I suspect you know the answer. Wikipedia reports that 90% of the international media is owned by 9 media conglomerates, which, as I just said, is the top 2 companies that have control of all of the industries in the world, Vanguard and BlackRock. So they're controlling the narrative. There are too many organizations to list under these 9 media conglomerates, but some of the largest organizations are Viacom CBS, News Corp, and its sister company Fox, Netflix, Prime Video, AT&T, Disney, and Comcast. But you've probably guessed it, who their majority shareholders are, and that's right, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street Corporation. Whether it's print, television, digital, streaming, or motion picture, these conglomerates control the media in nearly every country on earth. And just as I said, from doing the research for this show today, it's true, because all of the media was fluff pieces. It was very hard to find any negative stories, if you will. From your local programming to international network programming, everything in between are controlled by the big three. So remember, they're into strict adherence to environmental, social, and government governance, or I should say corporate governance, ESG. So they have a policy, they have a particular narrative that they wish to have followed. They have their own social credit score, if you will, for corporations. So when when newscasters read the news from their teleprompters, there's a good chance it's been synchronized with other reporting in newsrooms around the country and the world. Take a moment and sit and think. When you hear montages run on maybe your favorite news station, aren't they all about the same? You hear the same story, many times the same wording. The elites that control everything in our lives up to the information that we receive depend on an unimaginable coordinator to keep all of the different industries on Earth connected to each other, and in order to ensure that they all work in the elite's interest. And who is the coordinator? That would be the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab. To the elite, this is one of the most important organizations in the world. At its annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland, the CEOs of the largest companies on Earth gather with heads of state, politicians, and other influential individuals and organizations like UNICEF and Greenpeace. Critics say the WEF, or the World Economic Forum, is a business forum where the world's richest companies can negotiate deals with other companies or with politicians. The goal of the World Economic Forum for many of the participants would be personal gain rather than solving global problems. For an organization started in 1971 that gathers all of the world leaders and all of the top CEOs annually to work on global problems, why do we have all the problems that we have? The world's largest organizations have been meeting for 50 years to solve the world problems, yet our problems seem so dire. And why? We'll have to answer that question and others in the future episodes, as there's just way too much to unpack about the world economic in a short amount of time that we have left here for today. I'll leave you with a clue to look to the world's largest shareholders of the majority partners of the World Economic Forum. That's right, Vanguard and BlackRock. They are the majority shareholders, either directly or indirectly. And here's a clip from a professor at Gallagher University speaking to his students about the multinational corporate structure influence on the world. I think it says it all.
So I put $10,000 into the bank, they take my $10,000 and they go get $100,000. They borrow it from the Fed window. They get 10 times the amount of our deposits that we put into the bank. They then get 10 times the amount. They then take that 10 times the amount and they put it into treasury bonds or something else that's going to give them a yield of 7% or 6%. While they pay us what? 0.0000 nothing percent. Right. And then what happens? We get hip to it and say, hey, Mr. Silicon Valley Bank, can I have my money back? Oh, we don't have it right now. I want my money back. I don't have it. Everybody, I want my money back. Give us our money back. Hold on, we got to go sell the treasury bonds that we invested in that now are upside down because the rates are through the roof, and I don't have your money. So what has to happen to their Ponzi scheme that I would have went to jail if I did that? They get bailed out. Mr. Biden comes up and says, oh, I'm going to print more money. I wonder why he's going to print more money. To devalue your dollar even more. Because guess what they're doing next to you? They're going to centralize banking. They're going to own crypto. They're going to regulate everything to be digital. So this is the first step to doing it. And they're going to own us. We got to wake up because that's what's happening. And next, there's a war going to go on between China or between Russia, and we're right in the middle. Right? And then you look at these companies like BlackRock. Does anybody ever hear of BlackRock? Or Vanguard? Oh, how coincidental. Since 9/11, you own everything. You own everything. You own Pfizer. You own Moderna. Just coincidentally, but we don't know who the hell you are. You're never on TV. But you own Apple. You own Facebook. So you own everybody's identities, everybody's information. You own Smith & Wesson. You own manufacturers of guns. We're going to war. It just seems you're everywhere at the right time to make all the money. And you're the biggest company in the world, but you're never on the news. We never hear about you. Yeah, man, we got serious problems.
I want to thank you for tuning in today. It's been a pleasure to be with you, and hope that you got some value out of today's story. It did take some time to put it together, but we wanted to do a good job on it. So until our next episode, have a great day. This is Christy signing off for Beyond the Brink.